What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So I figured I'd make an updated video on Tenpai Dragon featuring the new support from Infinite Forbidden, which is basically Genroku. The rest doesn't really matter too much. Nobody plays the trap, and the Draco monster doesn't really add any depth to the deck. Yeah, we'll of course be showing a lot of combos through hand traps because this is what's really important. You can't really be misplaying and giving some free wins to your opponents, especially when you have the nuts in your hand, and also some big boards because it can be a little complicated in Tenpai Dragon. Anyways, before going any further, I would really appreciate you guys if you could smash the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much. Let's try to get this video to 1,000 likes. And if we can get there, I will be making even more combos through hand traps and really big boards featuring, you know, the bare minimum in Tenpai Dragon. If you want that, you already know what to do. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first combo is through Droll, which is very easy. You just have to make a good decision, which is to search the Chandra instead of the Pydra. If you search the white dude, then you're searching a search card, which means that the card does nothing and your combo does nothing. And you lose, and you don't want to lose. So you want to search the guy that special summons from the deck. That's just a better mechanic, because even under Droll, you can still do all that. And that's still an OTK. And you have a lot of extra damage as well. Yeah, this is, yeah, your opponent is already dead, and you're like, you know what, I want to kill you even more. Try and Dragon, destroy, attack for an extra 9k. You can be under Prosperity, and it's still game. So even if your first search is off of Prosperity, make sure that it's always the Chandra. It's not something else. If you search like another search card with Prosperity, you're always playing into Droll, and that's really bad. Alright, so now I just want to explain the fact that Shifter is pretty good in this deck. You can Shifter your opponent, and you can always OTK under Shifter. But if there is one OTK that works a little less than the others, it's when you open very specifically Chandra, because that means that you will not have access to the field spell in main phase 1. You can still get access to it in battle phase, but unless you also have Kaimin, it's gonna be a little less good, because then you can't really climb all the way into a Trident Dragon, because you can't, obviously, like, there's nothing in the grave, so it's not like you can rely on Fedora. So it's really hard to summon a level 10 monster while also having the field spell if you only have the Chandra. So yeah, you can still overkill your opponent for an extra 3k damage if you are going for this route, but your opponent can fully sponge the OTK under Shifter if he just sets a monster with 1700 or more defense. So yeah, keep that into consideration, but if he doesn't do that, then it's game regardless. Alright, so this is purely hypothetical, but let's just assume that your opponent has a bunch of Yubels on the board, and Unchained Soul of Rage there, and also even a Yama in the graveyard, and he also has Nightmare Pain, the field spell and everything, and all you have is the field spell. Can you still OTK your opponent through all those floaters? And the answer is yes, actually, because of a very interesting synchro monster in the extra deck that I think is just absolutely insane in this deck. It's really hard to get all the way to that monster if your opponent also has a bunch of interruptions, but that's the reason why you play so many hand traps and board breakers, in order to prevent your opponent from stopping you from stopping them from existing, basically. But yeah, first step is obviously activate that manner. Even if it's not manner, you can still kind of game, but it's gonna be way harder. You might just like not fully OTK and put your opponent in a position where he won't be able to win because you can break the full board. But yeah, it's gonna be a little rough. Anyways, assuming that we do have the field spell, with any discard, we just get our search for Chandra, and this is where it gets really nice. So normal summon, and then attack over the Yubel. We are going to be taking 15, and summon the Pydra from the deck, and then search for the Kaimin, and then, yeah, sure. Okay, now we are going to be activating the Kaimin, and special summon the Fedora from the hand, but we will not be attacking even more, because otherwise we're really just taking damage, which is really stupid. So now quick sync into the Biden Dragon using very specifically the Fadra. Make sure you do that, and we're going to be using its effect Revive Back, but also chain the Pydra. Very important that you do that, because this is the only opportunity that we have to summon some non-dragon monsters, because after we use the effect of Dragon, after the Biden Dragon, we are going to be locked under dragons only for the rest of the turn, which is really bad. So we want to summon our Time Lord Progenitor Vorkbait right now. This card's really nice. So it can be destroyed by battle or by card effects. You take no battle damage from attacks involving it. And at the end of the damage step, if this card special summoned from the extra deck battled, you can activate this effect, banish all your monsters that your opponent controls, and for the rest of the turn, you are under Prosperity, basically, because all the battle damage your opponent takes is halved. So we also have to kill our opponent for 8k damage with half damage, which is very difficult. That's the reason why the field spell is pretty nice. But anyways, revive back the Fadra off of the Biden Dragon, and then special summon the Pydra, and then we're going to be attacking with that Progenitor, banish absolutely everything, and make sure that we don't destroy anything, because the Yama can also revive back something from the graveyard if we destroy that Nightmare Pain or Nightmare Throne, because you might be a little trigger happy and also use its effect to destroy off of the Biden Dragon, but make sure you don't do that. And also now quick sync for the Trident Dragon, Destroy your 2 cards that aren't Progenitor of Vorkbait, because this card cannot be destroyed even by your own card effects, meaning that Trident Dragion will not be gaining the additional attack. And yeah, this will now have 6,000 attack and 3 attacks, so that's 18k damage. Divided by 2, that's 9,000, so that's way more than enough for game. Through a full Yubel board, which is not too bad at all, huh? Okay, so in this situation, I have to play through 3 hand traps that will be perfectly used against me, and all I have is the Field Spell and Chandra. That's it, that's all. How can I play perfectly in order to win through all of that? It's pretty complicated, and I'm gonna assume that I'm going second. So first things first, you activate the Field Spell, and you don't freaking use its effect. If you do, you are playing into Ogre. There is no reason to be stupid and play into Ogre for no good reason. Because then, what's gonna happen, you get Ogre there, and then you go Normal Summon Chandra, attempt to go Battle Phase, you get Veilered, and you pass turn. We don't want to lose the 2 hand traps when our hand can clearly win through 3. This hand is extremely good. It's just that Tenpai Dragon players, I don't know how good they are, but a lot of people, they overhype the crap out of Ghost Ogre. They say that this card's insane against Tenpai. Yeah, that's because they misplay, bro. Anyways, Normal Summon the Chandra and then go Battle Phase attack. The Veiler cannot really be used because of the Field Spell. Special Summon the Pydra from the deck and then search for the Kaimin. Your opponent is not going to Ash that, you might as well Ash the Kaimin, and then attack for 17 and 15, and then quick sync into the Biden Dragion, and then revive back, and then attack. That is going to be 7,500 damage, and then use the effect of Pydra in order to quick sync, and then your opponent has to Ghost Ogre, otherwise you can kill. And we're going to be going for the Kaimin, but that is going to be getting hit by an Ash, so our opponent was able to perfectly stop all of our plays with 2 hand traps, which is fine, but we can still win in main phase 2, because we have the Gaga Cowboy, basically. So we will be using the effect of the Field Spell in order to search for the Genroku. This is where it really matters, and we will be special summoning the Genroku, but with its effect, because we added it to our hand, and tribute it in order to special summon the Fedora. Our opponent has to Veiler there, because otherwise we're going to be summoning Genroku again, and then we can quick sync on the opponent's turn. But we summon Gaga Cowboy, and it's game. So essentially, with Blackwing the Salt Dragon, every single time your opponent activates a monster effect on the resolution, your opponent takes 700, and our opponent has 500. So if he uses any monster effect, the game ends on the spot. And there is nothing other than like Droplet and Dark Ruler and Imperm that can really stop that. That is absolutely insane. Through 3 hand traps that were used, correctly, because if we had to misplay and play into those hand traps, I think 2 hand traps would have been enough. So yeah, make sure that you play perfectly. That is the best piece of advice that I can give to anyone, really, just not even Tenpai players, Tenpai Dragon players, everyone. Alright, so for the deck list, I mean, it's pretty simple because it's Tenpai Dragon, so it's kind of low brain, but I mean, it's also modern day Yu-Gi-Oh for you. 16 hand traps, 3 Ogre, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, triple Shifter, and then the Bestial Magnamut. You Shifter your opponent, you can also Bestial yourself, and then you have no cards in your grave, and then you can Shifter again next turn. That's how Flundereeze wins against me usually, because then it becomes extremely annoying, so I hate that deck from the bottom of my heart. I actually hate Shifter, hopefully it gets banned. Anyways, yeah, Bestial Magnamut is really good in this deck, even if you're not using it as an interruption against your opponent, it still gets your stuff going, so kind of like an extra push, an extender, and a card that just is good overall. It doesn't have to be a hand trap. And then yeah, the rest, I mean, they're really just there to beat your opponent. Triple Pydra, triple Chandra, double again Roku, and then only 1 Fedora and 1 Dora Draco. If you really want to, you can even replace the Dora Draco with a second Fedora. It doesn't really change anything. And then yeah, 3 Field Spell, 3 Kaimin, 3 Prosperity, 1 extra Field Spell. And then Duster, double Lightning Storm, Rivalry. Everybody's main decking this card now. It's really good because everything is a dragon, and almost every deck out there loses to Rivalry for some reason. Yeah, except Yubel, because they only play Fiends. Anyways, for the extra deck, the big boy Transcended Dragion, with Trident Dragion and Bident Dragion, they're all Dragions. Black Rose, Odd-Eyes Meter Burst for the mirror match, it's pretty good. And then Black Rose for beating boards when you have the Field Spell going second. Samurai Destroyer for Yubel, even though Time Lord Progenitor Vorp Gate is good enough. As well as Ready Rose Dragon pretty much almost never comes up. Blackwing the Salt Dragon, pretty good card. And then Hieratic Seal, do a little Chimera. It's an OTK when you get D-Barred for Synchro. You can still kill your opponent. But again, your opponent can't survive if you just set some monster and stuff because you're barely OTKing. So also keep that in mind. Striker Dragon, SP Lone Knight, and finally Typhon because, yeah, for the SP, you really want to have like 1 monster summon from the extra deck. And basically, every single Tenpai Dragon can turn into a monster summon from the extra deck using Striker Dragon or Guard Dragon Pisty, but that's really stupid because then you can't summon SP. For the side deck, I mean, I didn't really build one, but the 2 cards that people are playing the most in the OCG right now are Quakimeru Drago and Heliosphere Dragon. The goal is to summon both of them with Hieratic Seal, and Drago is kind of like a barrier statue pretty much for light and dark monsters. You can not special summon them. Well, neither player, but you only play fire, so who cares? and Heliosphere Dragon is for the mirror match, so they complement each other very well. Heliosphere pretty much prevents your opponent from attacking if this is the only monster you control and your opponent has 4 less cards in hand. Without the ability to battle, this deck does nothing. And yeah, you can also play some heat waves and stuff, but that is a strict going first cards, whereas Shifter is both good going first and second, so you don't really get outplayed by your opponent randomly choosing to go first against you. But yeah, that's it for this video. Very short and sweet, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Tenpai Dragon post Infinite Forbidden. Do you think it's better, or do you think it's worse? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you think it's worse, you're really stupid, but I still want to hear your thoughts. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.